Welcome to this special edition of our program on the Eagle Online Nigeria. My name is Dr. Oladipo. I'm the managing editor of the Eagle Online, which operates at www.theeagleonline.com.ng. It is special because we'll be looking at the issues surrounding the disagreement between Nigeria and Libya over a 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Mediterranean Knights of Libya. The match, which was scheduled for tomorrow, that is Tuesday, has been boycotted by the Super Eagles over their ill treatment by the Libyans in the course of their journey to the match venue in Benghazi, Libya. What happened, how it happened, and the rules governing international and continental competitions of such nature are the things we'll look at, and how Nigeria too has been treating foreign teams over the years. First, let's start with what happened. The Super Eagles were on their way to Libya via a chartered aircraft and had planned to land very close to the venue of their scheduled match on Tuesday when they received the information that they were now to land at Abrak International Airport, one airport that has been designated solely for flying pilgrims to Saudi Arabia, and which is about 3 hours drive from the venue of the match in Benghazi. As if that was not enough after the diversion, on arriving at the airport, the Super Eagles had no way of leaving. No means of transportation had been provided, and even when the Nigeria Football Federation made arrangements for the Super Eagles to leave by a bus to the venue of the match, they were denied exit because the Libyan authorities at the airport refused to grant the bus that was chartered entry. After waiting for about 13 hours at the airport and with a lot of back and forth, the Super Eagles eventually decided they were heading back home. As we record this, they are airborne and will land either in Lagos or Abuja later in the day. In reaction to the development, the Libyan authorities have come up to defend themselves in what to many looked like a case of vendetta. They said when they arrived in Nigeria for the first leg of the double header just last week, they had to drive from Port Harcourt in Rivers State to Uyo in Akwa Ibom State, a distance of about 2 hours. That defense, for many, especially Nigerians, appear to be a lame one. This is because for international and continental matches, every visiting team decides how to arrive in the host country, where to land, when to land, and other issues. It is after landing in the host country that the host country takes over the football federation, that is, takes over the welfare, and every other thing that has to do with that team. And that will include how they get to the venue of the match. In the case of the Libyans, they chose to fly to Port Harcourt. In Nigeria, there is no flight between Port Harcourt and Uyo except it is chartered, because it's a short distance. And therefore, moving from Port Harcourt to Uyo made economic sense for the Nigeria Football Federation to go by road. And for those who monitored the arrival of the team and the movement to Uyo, it was seamless because as soon as they arrived, they were put in a bus with heavy security escort and moved on to the venue of the match. In the case of Benghazi from Al-Abrak, considering the security situation in Libya, nobody would have expected that a host country will allow its visitor to drive about 3 to 4 hours. And that was one of the points made by Nigeria through the chairman and chief executive officer of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, who said even if the Super Eagles had agreed to go on that long journey, the federal government would not have allowed it to happen because of the security situation. And so that nullifies the argument of the Libyans that they actually were made to travel by road. So also can we report from this end that Nigeria has been a very good host to visiting teams. And we can take this from the match the Super Eagles played against the Bafana of South Africa in Uyo, the same venue where the Super Eagles and the Libyans played last week. For the South African match, yours truly can report that the South Africans had it good when they arrived in Nigeria. They came in through the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. On arrival, the flight that goes into Uyo, that is the Ibom Air flight, was fully booked by the time they arrived. And I can authoritatively report that some very top editors in Nigeria, senior ones at that, with 25, 30 years experience, were taken off that flight to accommodate the Bafana. Some of these editors had to wait until evening that day and some the following day before they could fly into Uyo in order to give room to the squad from South Africa. And on arrival in Uyo, buses, luxury ones, were already waiting for them. And some cars too, luxury cars for their team leaders to ferry them to a 5-star hotel where they stayed. Going to the stadium was the same. And returning to the stadium was the same. Comfortable. Despite the fact that that visiting team defeated Nigeria at home on that occasion, leaving the country was also not an issue because they were accorded the same priority and given the dignity that they deserved. As such, it is very strange to Nigerians that this will happen. Perhaps the Libyans are not aware that Nigerians are people who observe things, and all of this that we are speaking about, they are online on different social media platforms. So what is going to happen now that Nigeria has decided to boycott the match? It should be noted from reports that have been going around that Nigeria has petitioned the Confederation of African Football, stating the ill treatment that they suffered in the hands of the Libyans. And the Confederation of African Football has responded, saying it has set up a disciplinary committee to look into the case of Nigeria. Let me read to you what CAF said in a statement just about 2 hours ago. It says, the Confederation African de Football, CAF, has been in contact with the Libyan and Nigerian authorities after it had been informed that the Nigerian national football team, Super Eagles, and their technical team were stranded in disturbing conditions for several hours at an airport that they were allegedly instructed to land by the Libyan authorities. The matter has been referred to the CAF Disciplinary Board for investigation, and appropriate action will be taken against those who violated the CAF's statutes and regulations. That was what CAF said. From what CAF has said and what the Nigerian and Libyan authorities have also said, just a few things can happen. Number one is for CAF to reschedule the match and instruct the Libyan authorities to be a good host and grant the Nigerian team easy access to the venue of the match. What Libya has said, perhaps, that may save the country is the fact that flying into any country has its own security implications. Whatever they have seen that made them to take a decision to divert the Nigerian flight to Al-Abrak, they will need to explain to CAF in great details to convince it that it should not lose the 3 points at stake to the Super Eagles. We can take a bit of what they told Nigeria in a statement that was issued just a few hours before the Super Eagles decided to leave, though that statement did not address the concerns of the Super Eagles as to whether they were going to be able to leave that airport or even play the match. Let's quote what the Libyan FA said. While we regret any inconvenience caused, it is essential to note that such incidents can occur due to routine air traffic control protocols, security checks, or logistical challenges that affect international air travel. These are standard procedures at airports worldwide, and delays or rerouting, though unfortunate, are not uncommon. We have the utmost respect for our Nigerian counterparts and want to reassure them that the diversion of their flight was not intentional. There are no grounds to accuse the Libyan security teams or the Libyan Football Federation of deliberately orchestrating this incident. Such actions are inconsistent with our values and principles. We firmly reject any claims that suggest foul play or sabotage in this situation. It is important to highlight that just last week, our own national team faced significant challenges upon our arrival in Nigeria for the third match of the Africa Cup of Nations qualification. Despite the difficulties we encountered, we did not make public accusations nor question the integrity of the Nigerian authorities. Football, in its essence, unites nations, and we are committed to upholding the spirit of fairness and mutual respect, both on and off the field. In Libya, we pride ourselves on our hospitality and our welcoming nature. We have always prioritized treating all visiting teams, including our African brothers and other international delegations, with the respect and dignity they deserve. Hosting these events is a great honor for us, and we strive to ensure that all teams feel safe and respected as our guests. This commitment to equality and hospitality is a core aspect of our culture and tradition. We hope that this misunderstanding can be resolved with understanding and goodwill. Our doors are open to our Nigerian brothers and all African teams, and will continue to promote the spirit of unity, sportsmanship, and friendship in the world of football. As I said earlier, this statement did not address the fact that the Super Eagles will play or not, and did not address the issue of how and when they were going to leave the airport, even when the Super Eagles had waited for 14 to 15 hours inside the airport, with most of them sleeping on the iron chairs in the airport. So it is on the basis of this that CAF will decide whether, one, it is going to order for a replay of that match, and underneath that one is the fact that will that replay take place in Libya or at a neutral ground that CAF will determine. The other option left will be for CAF to impose sanction on the team it finds to have defaulted. And that sanction can only be for one of the teams to get the 3 points at stake. So it's either the Libyans go away with the 3 points or Nigeria does. How CAF decides will solely depend on the disciplinary committee. But as it stands, Nigeria is still leading the Group C of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier for the 2025 edition. It has 7 points. If it gets another 3 points off this, it stands at 10. If it's the Libyans who have only 1 point that gets the 3 points, then it moves to 4 points for the Mediterranean Knights. As every team involved in this, including those who are in the same group with both Nigeria and Libya, await the outcome of the verdict of the Confederation of African Football. We at this end promise to keep you updated with every detail and also provide you with more information on the points or the facts made available to CAF by both teams that will lead to the determination of this case. And in what appeared to be a related and unrelated development to the tango between Nigeria and Libya, the president of the Libyan Football Federation, Abdul Hakim Al-Shamani, on Monday resigned from his position. His reason? He doesn't want to be a part of the failure of Libyan football. Al-Shamani, who had on Sunday met with the parliament over developments regarding Libyan football, made the decision public when he met with members of the federation on Monday, just about the time the Super Eagles were stranded at the airport. Could this be an excuse why the Libyans did not attend properly to Nigeria because their head was on his way out? Well, we're waiting to see. But then this was what Al-Shamani told the parliament and members of his team. And then the first quote, which I already gave, was, he said, "I do not want to be part of the failure in Libyan sports." When he spoke to the assembly on Monday, Al-Shamani told the lawmakers, "We faced difficulties during the previous period." That was what he acknowledged. And at the same time, he thanked members of the General Assembly, also saying that he had forgiven everyone from all segments of the first sector who he offended and who offended him. That's what he said. He said he also has a history in the International Arab and African Federation, and he said no one can deny that. From this end, my name still remains Dr. Oladipo, and we hope that you have had a good understanding of the issues at stake between Nigeria and Libya in this Africa Cup of Nations qualifier for the 2025 edition. Catch you very soon again when we bring you an update.